Hello, everyone, and thanks again for joining us today. I'm Brice Babinec, and I'm going to take you through the process of creating a fully 3D printed pocket knife. Not just a replica knife out of plastic, I'm actually going to be making a fully functional knife from scratch by designing and then 3D printing with plastic, carbon fiber, and with metal. I'm really excited to show you how it turned out, so let's go ahead and get started. It's always a good idea to have a planning stage when starting a new project, and I don't know about you guys, but for me, it usually starts a little something like this. You get that idea in your head and then just kind of start spiraling with all of the possibilities. But fortunately, this made it past that conspiracy phase, and I kind of organized it into a basic plan, which you can see here. And really, when you boil it down, I think most engineering projects probably look a little something like this. You start with the what, move on to the how, try it, and then fix it. All right, so what do I need to make? Fortunately, I'm not designing anything new here because knives are probably one of the oldest inventions in human history. I actually looked it up before this, and knives have been around for 2.5 million years, and billions of them exist in the world. So I can cheat a little bit. I've got a lot of inspiration to pull from. It also makes it even cooler that this might be the first 3D printed pocket knife ever that's actually functional. So hopefully we can take that record home today. But out of those billions of knives, I pulled the closest one to me, which I think is just a cheap one from Amazon, but it works perfect to sort of explain what we got going on here. Obviously, I'm going to need a blade and a handle, but it wouldn't be a very good pocket knife if that's all I had. What makes it a pocket knife is the ability to fold back up into the handle. And so to get that functionality, I need a couple of critical pieces, which first off is a pivot point, and that just helps the blade rotate, and then some type of hardware to hold the two halves of the handle together. And then part of the spinning functionality too is a way to stop the blade from rotating. Otherwise this thing would just spin in circles endlessly. So this is a blade stop. And then it also provides a lot of strength as you're pushing down and cutting stuff. So I want to make sure that that part is nice and strong. And then on the front side here, I have a blade lock. And this thing is just a piece of metal that bends up into a flat spot on the bottom of the blade, and it locks it into place. So similarly, it keeps it from coming forward. And with those basic features, I pretty much have a pocket knife, but almost all of them have this pocket clip, so I'd like to include one of those as well. And then to help the blade spin, there are spacers on either side of it here, just to make it a little bit more frictionless. So that's sort of our part list, and let's go ahead and dive into how we're going to make these parts now. And of course, the whole idea and goal here is to 3D print a knife, but I want to use both metal and composite 3D printing for making the different parts of the knife. And when I first went through this, I had to use two separate printers for that. So one for plastic and one for metal. But now I could do everything on the new Markforged FX10. In its base configuration, the FX10 can print with composite plastics, and then it can use a second print nozzle with those plastics to embed them with continuous fibers like carbon fiber or Kevlar, for example, which is awesome because using continuous fiber lets you make plastic parts that are insanely strong. So we're talking the same strength as a machined aluminum equivalent in some cases. But some parts actually do need to be metal, of course, and the knife blade is a good example of that. We're just not going to get a durable, sharp edge from plastic. So for that, we could take advantage of the new FX10 metal kit. And now it takes about 15 minutes to swap over from plastic to metal on the same machine. So it's just really convenient. And the Markforged metal process uses the same idea as plastic printing, but the print material has a metal powder mixed in with it. And then it uses a secondary ceramic material for any support interfaces. That way you don't have to worry about cutting or grinding metal supports off of a part. Once the parts are printed, you can use a Markforged wash and sinter to get a fully dense metal part, which is what we're going to do with our process. So now I just need to decide which parts I want to make from plastic and which ones I want to print using metal. Again, I don't have much of a choice when it comes to the blade. That definitely has to be metal. And I also have an idea for the blade lock and the pocket clip, so I'm going to use metal for those too. But the handle can be printed in plastic, especially when we can make it a lot stiffer using carbon fiber reinforcement. And I also want to print the spacers out of plastic. So that just leaves a couple of extra parts. And hypothetically, I could print the pivot and hardware stuff all from metal and then finish up the threads, but we have plenty of screws already floating around in the shop, so I'm just going to use those. It's just a little more realistic that way. The same goes for the blade stop piece, because we keep metal dowel pins in stock for this exact purpose. It's a really simple part, and they're really helpful to use in 3D printing, and they're super cheap. So I'm going to use an existing metal dowel pin that we already have. And so with that, we have a pretty good plan laid out, and we know how we're going to make each one of these parts, but we actually need to have the parts to make. So now it's time to hop over into SOLIDWORKS and get started on the design side. When it came to the design, I decided to start with the blade first, because I think having a cool looking blade is probably the most important part of having a nice knife. So I started with this sort of rough profile here, and it's always a good idea to start with your print orientation, an idea of how you want to set it up, because there's a lot of factors that depend on that. And so I decided I wanted to print it on this back face here, and that meant I would have to put a raft on the part, which is another separate piece that prints around the bottom, and it just gives it more support to keep it from falling over during printing or sintering. But what it would allow me to do is get more detail on the side of the blade. And so it allowed me to add a couple of cool things like these little hexagon cutouts. For some reason, these are super popular in 3D printing. I don't know what it is, but I fall into that category too. And then I also decided to add the Markforged logo here. And what I was talking about earlier, because I'm printing this on its back, I get to draw out this logo with the layer height. And the height of each layer is about 0.2 millimeters. Whereas if I was to print it on this face, it would be using the diameter of the nozzle to draw out this logo, and the nozzle diameter is 0.4 millimeters, so it's twice as big. So that's sort of like drawing with a big marker using the nozzle versus using a fine tip pen by taking advantage of the layer lines. So from that point, on that same sort of thought, I decided to leave a little bit of extra on the edge here, because I just can't go thin enough with the diameter of the nozzle to get an actual sharp edge. And I'm going to be sharpening this thing anyways after it prints and sinters, so not a problem there to leave a little bit of a flat spot. So then the only piece of the puzzle left was to add my pivot point over here. And I decided I wanted to put a piece of plastic, like a sort of spacer here. That way I wouldn't have to worry about getting the exact size of this hole. And it just kind of opens it up, because we don't have a drill press. So being able to use plastic and kind of play around with that fitment if needed should be pretty convenient. So at this point, I was feeling pretty good about the blade. I think it looks really cool. And it was getting towards the end of the day, so I just decided to sort of rush through the rest of this, get my handle and the rest of the pieces done. That way I could print a cheap PLA prototype, just out of a cheap prototyping plastic, and that way I could have this thing, see the fit and function and feel and the size, make sure it was good before I went all the way with metal and carbon fiber and all the fancy stuff. So this is sort of what I came up with for the full knife here. So again, I kind of rushed through the handle here. I went with a relatively simple sort of rectangular shape, but I left these cutouts for the heads of some bolts that we had at the shop. And on the other side, I left some cutouts for brass heat set inserts that get melted into the handle and add some thread. On the inside of the blade here, we've got our other critical features. The blade lock, I decided to print it flat out of metal, and that would keep me from having, if I bent this up in place already, I would have a lot of supports underneath. And because this is metal, I can just as easily print it flat and then bend it up later, which meant I could leave a little bit extra on this sort of edge where it interfaces with the knife, and I could just grind away at it and make sure I get the exact fit I needed. I also added this little nub here, which locks into one of the little hexagon cutouts. That way this knife doesn't come open while it's in my pocket and cut my leg open. Probably wouldn't be a very good knife if it did that, so the little nub should help. And then I also decided to just integrate these spacers. That's one of the nice things about 3D printing is it's just integrating different pieces of hardware that could very easily be printed together with very little extra material cost there. So that should space the two handles halves away from each other perfectly. And then we talked earlier about using a metal dowel pin. So this just press fits into the two halves of the handle. And all that we had left from there was our little spacers. And one of these actually fits inside of the pivot point, so I can get a more precise fit around the bolt that goes through here. And that pretty much covers all the parts on the first draft here. So let's see what it looked like to set this up and get it printed. Here's a sped up look at what that setup process kind of looked like. I just batch uploaded the files for each set of parts. So for the metal set, I changed the batch settings to use a gray PLA just to sort of visualize the part as metal. And then I sent those gray parts over to our X7, started working on the plastic group of parts, where I changed those batch settings to print in a black PLA and sent that one to our Mark II. So I had both of these printing on different printers at the same time. And then that way I could come in the next day and have this thing ready to go. The prototype actually came out great, and it served its exact purpose. I was able to double check some of the tolerances on my parts and just get a feel for the size and shape of everything before I invested more time and cost into a final part. It also helped me decide on a few changes. So first off, the screws I had were definitely too long, but more than that, I didn't like how the heat set inserts looked, and I decided to switch up my approach for the thread in the handle. And speaking of the handle, that boring rectangular shape doesn't do any justice for the cool looking blade, so I definitely have to spice that up. And of course, it doesn't look right without a pocket clip, so I need to add one of those too. These changes were pretty minor overall, so I just hopped back into SOLIDWORKS and fixed it up before finally printing the part out of metal and carbon fiber. On the SOLIDWORKS side, this is what I ended up with. So right off the bat, I'm way happier with the way this handle looks compared to the old one. It definitely does the blade more justice. And then instead of using those heat set inserts I was talking about, I added voids inside one half of the handle. That way I could embed square nuts into it during printing. And you just do that by creating these voids in CAD, and then in the print, you actually set up a pause right before the voids get covered. You add the square nuts into the part, and then you continue the print so they get captured inside. That way I can still have these threaded holes, but it's much more subtle than the heat set inserts. Other than that, the internals are pretty much the same. The shape just got kind of changed around to accommodate for the new handle. And then I just had to add the pocket clip. And it probably could have been printed out of plastic, but just for aesthetics, I kind of wanted it to match the metal blade. And I wanted to print it in the same orientation as the blade so the layer lines would all kind of match up when the knife is open. And printing it from metal created a pretty interesting challenge because I didn't have much space left after shaping up the handle. And I could use the same screw that holds all the handle halves together, but the clip would just spin if there's only one screw holding it, of course. And then the other issue is the clip is really thin, so I was kind of worried about it falling over during printing or sintering if I didn't use a raft. But I was able to fix both of those issues by pretty simply just adding a little tab here at the bottom. And the tab could act as sort of a kickstand during printing or sintering. And then it press fits into the handle to keep it from rotating when I assemble the whole thing. So from there, it was just time to set up the part and get everything printed. And one of the cool things about a Mark Forged metal 3D printer is that slicing the parts in metal is just as easy as doing it in plastic, and it's really just the same workflow. All we have to do is select our metal material instead of plastic. And when it came to the knife, I left most of my settings as default, but I did hop into the X-ray view for the blade, and I blocked supports from printing where the engraved logo was. It's not really deep enough to cause any issues, and I also know that these smaller hexagon cutouts will bridge the gap just fine, so I blocked supports kind of in that whole area there. I left supports for the rest of it, and you can see in orange where the secondary ceramic material will print between the supports and the actual part, and that way it just breaks off and breaks away easily after sintering. For the plastic parts, and specifically the knife handle, I selected onyx as my main material, which is a nylon with chopped carbon fiber, but I also added the secondary continuous carbon fiber reinforcement because I wanted to come in here and customize that reinforcement by wrapping it around the bolt holes and strengthening those, but also using sandwich panels on the top and the bottom. That way it could resist any bending that's coming in from that direction. Then it was finally time to print everything out, do a little bit of post-processing, and assemble the blade. So here's a quick little build montage I put together of that process.
What slide this is? Has editing on it. Yeah. This is two sizes, right? We'll talk about it.
The final product came out awesome, and it was exactly what we wanted. A perfect little pocket demo part to sort of show off the capabilities of these machines, and specifically now the FX10 because it can print all the parts of this knife. Plus, it's something that's actually functional that I can use every day. So I hope this was as fun for you guys to watch as it was for me to make, and I hope it provided some insight on the capabilities of these types of industrial 3D printers.